The Atlanta Braves salvage Game 2 of the series against the Miami Marlins. They took 2 of 3 against the Boston Red Sox this weekend, and a lot has happened since then. So, like I mentioned last week, doing kind of a different style of reviews, at least for a minute here. Might get back to the nightly game, one game only style review soon, but been dealing with a lot at home and at work recently. So this is just what you're getting from me for right now. So this morning, I think everybody was a little bit shell-shocked with how the game yesterday went. The Braves lost 12-0 to the Miami Marlins, just were never in it. And J.R. Ritchie, I don't know how much of it was his fault, but did not have the put-away pitch. Finally got the walks caught up to him, and his defense did not have his back, to be fair. However, he still had a bad performance. So, the tweet that everyone woke up to or saw on their way to lunch or at work today, the Braves have designated for assignment J.R. Ritchie, optioned him down to AAA Gwinnett, and they have reinstated Dylan Dodd from his rehab assignment. So Victor Maduros has also been recalled, and Aaron Bummer has been cut. So not even DFA'd, just straight released for Aaron Bummer. He will not pitch another game for the Atlanta Braves organization. That somewhat good news. The Braves need to get their pitching staff kind of controlled. What they were doing just wasn't working. It was putting too much stress on their good relievers, and you just had games where not like half of your bullpen or more could not go. You were relying on guys like Aaron Bummer to get crucial outs. Wasn't working out for you. So you needed some more clarity. Go back down to a 5-man rotation. And that is what seems to be happening with J.R. Ritchie heading down to Gwinnett. Dylan Dodd will be out of the bullpen. Maduros also out of the bullpen. So you do lose the lefty of Aaron Bummer, gain the lefty of Dylan Dodd. So not super unexpected. I think Aaron Bummer caught a few people, myself included, by surprise. Not because it was the wrong move. I think that you gave Bummer every single chance possible to prove himself this year. He just didn't have anything left in the tank to give the Atlanta Braves. So I wish him all the best. Seems like a good dude. Just it's a business, and he wasn't delivering. The thing, though, that led that tweet. Chadwick Trump has been selected to the Major League roster, so welcome back, Chadwick. Everyone loves Chadwick Trump in Braves country. Because Drake Baldwin has been put on the 10-day IL with a strained right oblique. And everyone lost their minds. Because Acuna was back today, and you lose statistically your best hitter, the only consistent hitter you've had for the entire 2-month period, and only a week after you lost Sean Murphy for at least 8 weeks. And with an oblique, I mean, we saw what it did to Sean Murphy in 2023. Completely derailed what was the best season of his career. So, very scary for a young guy like Drake Baldwin. But the good news is, after the game today, after this, he was sent back to Atlanta from Miami to get an MRI on the oblique. And Walt Weiss says they avoided disaster, and it's just a very minor strain, very minor pull of that oblique muscle. The Braves have a division lead that it's being closed in on by the Phillies, but the Phillies have to play a much tougher schedule for the next few weeks than the Braves do. It is not worth rushing back Drake Baldwin when he's not fully healthy. Make sure he is healthy before he comes back and plays for the Atlanta Braves. If that means he has to go down and get a rehab assignment or two, that's fine. But you cannot risk re-injuring that oblique muscle. He has to be healthy and he has to be right when he comes back. So whether that is a trade for a serviceable catcher up until Baldwin is ready to go, or if you just roll with Sandy Leon and Chadwick Trump until then. But Chadwick Trump had a hit today. Sandy Leon has been pretty good. Was good against the Red Sox. If this is only a 10-day injury, you can get by with those two, providing the rest of the offense hits. And something I wanted to point out, over the last 15 days by team, just sorting by runs scored, the Braves, despite having, I believe, the second most runs scored in all of Major League Baseball, are the second worst team in the National League over that 15-day stretch, which is roughly when Ronald Acuna Jr. went down with injury. So even though Acuna wasn't hitting, he brought a lot of... He made hitters or pitchers tiptoe around him. It set up Drake Baldwin. It set up Matt Olson. And that has just not been the case since he's been gone. It doesn't help that a guy like Ozzy Albies has been terrible ever since Acuna has not been here. And Olson's cooled off a bit. Michael Harris has cooled off a bit. They both had some meaningful contributions today, but still not ideal. So the Braves, if you're a Braves fan, after the whooping you took last night and everything going on, it feels like the sky is falling. So when you go out there and you score 2 runs in the first inning, you get the bases loaded. Acuna, Dubon, Olson, Ozzy gives you a sacrifice fly to score the first run. And then Michael Harris, he gets a hit that scores Mauricio Dubon. So you're kind of on top of the world, like I mentioned. Ozzy and Michael have not been good the last 2 weeks. Michael has hit a few bombs, but he's just not been amazing. So you start out 2-0. You put out Martin Perez, who immediately gives up 3 runs. Xavier Edwards hits a leadoff home run against him. And then Kyle Stowers is able to score Otto Lopez and Esteury Ruiz on a double. So it's 3-2 Miami until the bottom of the 3rd inning, where Ruiz, once again, hits a sacrifice fly. It was really deep. Michael might have been able to make a throw home if it was a little bit more shallow, but he just tried to get Morel at 3rd, was unsuccessful. But Martin Perez stops the bleeding at 4. And I saw what was going on Braves Twitter. I saw everyone mad at Seong Kim, rightfully so. He made some terrible defensive plays in this game, just mental lapses of judgment. But in the top of the 5th, the Braves begin to fight their way back. Ronald Acuna, he doubles to start the inning, and Matt Olson doubles to score him home. And the Braves, 4-3, they have a bit of momentum. And in the top of the 6th, Michael Harris just crushes one to center field, just barely clears the fence. And we have a tie ball game. The Braves busted this one wide open in the top of the 8th. The Marlins made a weird error where Dubon just hit a ball pretty hard to the first baseman, and he looks to flip to the second baseman, who is behind him. So shortstop should be covering second, and he just never made an effort to get there. The bases were loaded, so just nowhere to go with the ball. No one covering second. The pitcher got beat to first base. No chance at a play there. The Braves score without registering an out. And then Matt Olson just hits a ball through the gap on the left side of the infield, and that was able to score Seong Kim and Ronald Acuna Jr. And finally, Seong Kim, he drew a walk in the top of the 8th inning, and then the top of the 9th inning with runners on. He scalds one finally into center, and that was able to score Chadwick Trump. So something to keep in mind, Sandy Leon was removed from this game. I don't think that it had anything to do with him getting hit in the mask. However, we saw with the umpire last night that a foul tip directly into your mask can cause a concussion or cause some jaw pain. So Sandy Leon did leave shortly after that. I do believe it was just to get a better matchup, a double switch, and to let Dominic Smith have a pinch hitting opportunity. But you wanted something to keep an eye on with Sandy Leon, just with the Braves' lack of catching depth right now. Adam Zabrowski actually was called up from Columbus to AAA Gwinnett today. He's had a good year for Columbus, but I do not think he's ready for the major leagues yet, even as a backup catcher. And that's watching him pretty much every day with the Columbus Clingstones. But we will see. The Braves win 8-4. They scratch back from what I mentioned was a 4-2 deficit, where they could have easily laid down and died after the Baldwin news today and everything. But they score 8, and that was with Ronald Acuna Jr. only contributing 1 hit, but he reached base 3 times, 2 walks, 1 hit, and 1 strikeout for his effort today. He is DHing while the team is in Miami to keep him off of the devil turf in Florida, but the Braves are a much better lineup with Ronald Acuna Jr. in it, even if he's not performing to the best of his ability. And you just hate that as soon as you get one guy back healthy, you lose another centerpiece to your rotation. Walt Weiss knew that this game was kind of a must-win for his team in terms of morale, and you can see it with the way they chased a victory. The Braves didn't lead late in this game until the top of the 8th, and it didn't matter. Even after blowing this game wide open 7-4, they let Robert Suarez go in and get the 8th inning, and Raisel Iglesias pitch the 9th. Walt Weiss was not letting this game slip between his fingers. He went out and got the win. So I think it's a win that, despite the overwhelmingly winning record the Braves needed for strictly team morale, because things were kind of dire heading into this game. And 3rd, 4th inning, for a while there, you were kind of feeling I don't know if we were feeling it more than the players or if the players were feeling it more than us, but you could feel, for lack of a better term, the deja vu of the last 2 seasons, where you had kind of clawed your way back. You had a winning record this time in 2024 and let it slip away. And in 2025, you got back to 500 at about this time in the season, and then you had more injuries pile on and could not get out of it. And losing Drake Baldwin, I feel like if you lose the game tonight, drop the first 2 to Miami, that suddenly it could spiral. So Walt Weiss, just making sure that does not happen with his team. Very aggressive, chases the win, and the Braves draw even in this 4-game series. Tomorrow, they will face the same Miami Marlins. And looking at the Braves' probable pitchers for the rest of the series, now that the rotation has kind of been more decided, they will send out arguably their 1 and 2. Chris Sale gets the start on tomorrow night, against Jansen Junk. So the left-hander, Chris Sale, he's 6-3, actually lost his last 2 starts out despite pitching just gems in both of them. Gave up 3 to Los Angeles, no earned runs to last time out against the Cubbies, and still came away with a loss. So 1.96 ERA among the National League's elite pitchers, 64 strikeouts in 9 games this season. Jansen Junk, 2-4, 4.14 ERA, 37 strikeouts. He's a righty, though that doesn't really make that much of a difference with Ronald Acuna Jr. in the DH spot. So Spencer Strider will get the start Thursday in the getaway game for Atlanta. 1-0, 2.45 ERA, 18 strikeouts. And his last 2 times out against the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs, he has looked like the Spencer Strider of old. Let's see if he can fry the fish. And he will face the Cy Young winner from 2020, 2021, 2021, I believe. Sandy Alcantara, he's 3-2 with a 3.53 ERA, 45 strikeouts. So not quite vintage Sandy, but that should be a fun matchup nonetheless before the Braves head home to take on the Washington Nationals, who are still red hot when it comes to their bats. So should be a fun series, but the Braves, with starting Strider and Sale, you need to win at least one, preferably both, here against the Fish. So until next time, whenever that might be, I'm Caden. Peace out and keep on shopping.